Hey guys, Coach Dan here. Lower body day today. We're going with, get some of this into me. We're going with a big stiff-legged deadlift. Now, some thoughts I've been thinking lately. Potentially, don't get too caught up. Maybe change out the stiff-legged deadlift for a period of time. It's really giving it to me. It's really tiring, and this is a Friday workout for me. Coming to try and do it on Friday, get up the juice for it, is pretty challenging and tough. So maybe a bit of a program change there. Nothing too wild. I was even considering, we have a belt squat here, doing an RDL on the belt squat. That looks pretty cool. I've done that before. It's pretty strong. It's stable. That's a good thing. So we can push hard on that. But yeah, other than that, today's business use. My quads are still a bit sore from hack squatting earlier this week. So I'm not sure how we're going to go on some of these movements, but we get out there, just see how it feels as we're going. Maybe it'll feel okay. Maybe it won't. And then we'll play the game from there. The other thing that's been on my mind lately, I've been watching a little bit of a disagreement among the evidence-based community or the scientific fitness-based community, and just thinking, geez, some of these people are like fiddling around with stuff that I'm not sure it matters, or it doesn't appear to matter that much. And I get that they're passionate about these things, but it's like, well, if I were finishing my honors, if I get into research, I think I want to make sure that what I do matters and is actually practically helpful and useful for people. So study something that, really matters, not something that just makes people feel like they're intelligent about a particular topic in biomechanics or whatever it might be. And anyway, that's just a thought I had maybe on the way to sleep last night. So some of those thoughts I have while going to sleep. All right, let's stiff-legged deadlift. We've got to get jacked up for this one. I've been working all morning, pretty tired, so I've got to get something and give it some. So you can't really not give it some when you're stiff-legged deadlifting, can you? All right, let's go. All right, we begin the warm-up process for the stiff-legged deadlift. I have begun, should I say. So stiff-legged deadlift, I'm trying to make this and lean this towards my hamstrings as much as possible. So technique-wise, that looks a little bit different than, say, if I wanted to make it more glutey, or if I just wanted to even lift the most weight as possible. So if we're thinking hamstrings, they're a muscle that passes behind both the knee and into your hip. So if we get into a position where we have this kind of sit and reach kind of stretch, we have a big stretch on the hamstring. Both a pretty straight knee and a close to fully flexed hip is going to give us that big stretch. So technique, therefore, if we want to make it more about the hamstrings, is going to mean your hips are quite high in a position such that you get this big hamstring stretch, but your back is still flat. So if we can't get all the way down because our back is round, our hamstring flexibility is not there, we can kind of stock this up a little bit higher. For me, my hamstring flexibility is pretty good. So I got feet about hip width apart, hands directly outside my legs, hips high. I already feel tension in my hamstrings. Stand from there. So this was a workout that I missed last week as a part of my deload. So the back end of the week, both yesterday's workout, today's workout, and tomorrow's workout, I missed them all last week. So we shall see where the strength level's at, having not done these now for 2 weeks. Maybe it'll be good, maybe it'll be bad, but we'll check in on the way up. We'll shoot for, and we'll expect that the weight will be similar, but then once we get up there, we can really check in with the difficulty, and if we can manage to hit same number, or if we have to change, or whatever it might be, we'll see. But let's build it up and find out. Come on, you fucking pussy. Can you call me a pussy? But like put it in a sentence, like.
Dave, you're such a pussy. You can't believe this. You suck.
Fuck you. Fuck a pussy. Thank you. That was for you. All right, so come off the stiff legged deadlift. That went pretty well. I got 9 reps, and I got 9 reps 2 weeks ago, so I had last week off, so that's equal to that. Goal is to try and get that to 10. That's 185 stiff legged deadlift times 9. If I can get that to 10, I might try 190 and try and get that up there as well. Alternatively, if I can get that for 10, yeah, maybe I'll switch that out for a belt squat variation. It is taking a lot of juice, that one, so it might be a time to change, build up something else. That is all up for consideration in the future. All right, moving on. So we're going Bulgarian split squat or rear foot elevated split squat. So my setup for this is this roll thing back here, and then also the bench in front here with dumbbells, as long as, you know, the bench is available. This is just a good way so I don't have to pick these up. So my dumbbells are getting pretty heavy here. Now we're trying to bias this as much towards the glutes now as possible. So with our stiff legged deadlift, we're trying to bias that towards the hamstrings. Glutes got a lot of work there as well. Now this is glutes, and quads are going to get a little bit of work. But, you know, we could do this technique differently such that what we want to work is working more with, depending on how we do it in our technique. So my technique is going to involve one foot out in front, obviously, back foot here, and then leaning forward into it with the dumbbells kind of hanging out on top or in line with my front leg. Now, doing it this way means, again, by the time I finish this movement, my chest is on my knee, which means that is full hip flexion, which means we're trying to stretch that glute out as much as possible. Now, in that position, I'm not sure if you can see that, my knee might only be at about 90 degrees. So my quad doesn't stretch out very much, but my glute stretches out pretty much as far as I can on a movement like this. So this is how we are going to bias it towards the glutes as much as possible and let the quads just come along for the ride and maybe do a little bit of work as well. So last week I did 42.5 kgs per hand times 12, and I've kind of left my rep range here for about 8 to 12 per leg. So I'm at the top of the rep range, so I'm going to the next weight today. So I might do one more practice set at 40 per side. So just so I'm not jumping straight to heavy weight, well, it's heavy weight, but just so I'm not jumping to my heaviest weight. So we've got that midway one to kind of let me feel it a little bit heavy and not be so shocking when we first begin. So I'll do a set here in the interim, and then we'll catch up on set 1 where I might tear my asshole. Let's go. Okay, after further consideration, I'm deciding to not do that leg press on those warm-ups. The quads just aren't feeling good, so this kind of indicates a couple of things, like coming off of hack squats. That was, today's Friday, that was Tuesday. So reintroducing hack squats and a different glute variation that also uses the quads, that I haven't recovered in time. So there's something, you know, I feel sore, that doesn't necessarily mean I shouldn't train fully, but yeah, I'm inclined to kind of go, if there's excess soreness, that to kind of leave it, or not leave it, but maybe do some, you know, recovery work or whatever it might be on the quad. So I just did a couple of light sets on the leg press, but on that build up, it just wasn't feeling right. It felt, yeah, like I'm doing more harm than good. Now, what that means for hack squats next week is that potentially we either reduce the work, so we do less sets, or alternatively, we could also reduce the intensity of effort, or we do the same, and hopefully, because we've had it now a week at it, the recovery will be a little bit better. So just some considerations to keep in mind there. Like, yeah, overlapping soreness, I'm inclined to believe is not the best idea. So, you know, maybe a little bit of soreness you can, but yeah, that was not going well even in the warm-ups, and so call it there. And then maybe next week, after doing the hack squats again, you know, with a week under the belt, so I just reintroduce it this week, it'll feel a little bit better and recovery will be better. Anyway, all that said, we've got hamstring curls now, a couple sets here, so nothing too flashy about hamstring curls. We simply lie down, set the pad up such that it's on the bottom of your ankle, so not up your calf. Then we drive heels to butt, control the down, let the hamstring stretch out as far as possible, and repeat. A couple of faults you might see with this is like people throwing their body into it like such, creating momentum. So once you lock that on, and just flex and extend the knees. All right, even lying on my quads in this position, I might just sound like a little bitch actually. Maybe I'm a little bitch. All right, let's do our best little bitch effort. We're going machine adduction. So adduction means we're adducting, or the knees are coming towards, or the hips are coming towards the center line, or coming towards the middle of the body. So of recent, I've been adding 2 sets of adduction on both of my lower body days. One's a bit heavier, one's a bit more moderate for more reps. And yeah, it's only been a couple of weeks, but it just seemed like it was something that was missing in my program. Again, like when you do things like squats and stuff like that, the adductors will work, and some of the other exercises, but this is just to kind of target them directly, which I've never really done in my programming. I've pretty much never ever done this exercise, so maybe it makes sense to kind of add it in for strength purposes, aesthetic purposes, and a whole bunch. So this particular adduction, or one thing that makes sense for the adducting exercises, to kind of lean back all the way on the pad and not to lean forward doing this exercise. So we think about the adductors and stretching them out. They're also a hip flexor. So if I kind of, hip flexor. So if I kind of flex down in this position, it's shortening them or pre-shortening them, and this is about opening them up. So I'll take the thing out as far as my flexibility and mobility will allow. Lean back on the pad, knees go towards one another. Feels pretty reasonable. Again, I haven't used too many of these machines, so this one feels okay to me. Now I'm going to go 10 to 15 on this day. On the early day of the week, I'll go heavier for 5 to 10 reps, so a little bit lighter, and 2 sets, and we move on. It's been a tough one today, struggling, but we're going to hang in there for some calves and some abs. Don't neglect the calves, and for me, I got shitty abs, so I've got to not neglect those either, right? So I'm going Smith machine calf raise in this particular workout. So we set a block, sort of the back end of the block is going to be directly under where the bar is, or pretty close to, so when you're going down, the force is coming down directly over your ankle, essentially. We've got a weight plate here so this doesn't tip over. Now, your probably best bet to do a calf raise with some form of bar is going to be the Smith machine, because if we have a standard barbell, you have to worry about balance all the time. You can do a dumbbell in a hand and then hold on to something, but you want that balance and stability and not have a fear of falling. So when I'm ready to go, I set half the foot on the box or step deck or whatever it is. We kind of pop up, handles go back for the Smith machine, heels sink down towards the ground, raising up onto the toes. So you could go with wider stance, narrower stance. I don't see that being too much different. Different angle of foot, I don't see that making much of a difference, but there could be some biomechanistic people out there who might think that changes what works, blah, 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 blah. I don't necessarily notice. I just get in. I do a version of calf raise where my knee's straight and then I make my ankle do that. That's it. That's all I focus on with calves. I don't make it too complex, because I do that for too many other things in my life and I just can't bear it anymore. All right, let's hit this. 4 sets here, 10 to 20 reps, build up to our weight, smash it out. I'm not gonna be a little bitch. Let's go. Okay, finishing off abs on the GHD. Now, I personally use the GHD because it's got this sort of bend in it, and that bend can be really good to kind of align with your lumbar or lower back curve. That kind of goes into your belly button. If you're thinking about the abs or the rectus abdominis, they kind of attach to the bottom of your sternum and to your pelvis, and they're essentially bringing these 2 points together. So if we're always banging on about lengthen training and training the muscle into a lengthened position, essentially what we want to do when training abs is open that up and close that back down, and that's the job of your abs basically. Now this helps me do that. You think about doing like a sit up on the ground or something like that, that can often just be like hip flexion and hip extension as well as abs. You could do it such that it is this way, but this just kind of aids, as well as getting off the ground allows a large range of motion. So we'll kind of get locked in here like this. I shuffle my butt all the way down towards the bottom so my lower back is lined up with this curve, and then I essentially lengthen that all out and then bring them towards one another. So what I want to see here is, again, the initiating of the movement is opening this up and then closing it down. Open it up, close it down, not coming from the hips so much. So I've got my knees pretty bent, I've got my hips, and we're trying to keep that at the same angle the whole time. And kind of, just open up, close that down, open up, close that down. So we can make this as abby as possible. You've got to give this one a go. This one's terribly uncomfortable, very effective, I've found. I've gotten to the point where I'm adding a dumbbell now, so I'll pick that up, and for set 1 we'll go with that. And maybe as the sets go on fatigue, I might come back to body weight for last 2 or 1 set or something like that. But we shall see how we're getting on. Again, we missed this workout last week, just taking a deload, so let's see how the performance is here in a sec.
That's a wrap on the workout, guys. Ooh, that's a tough one. So, yeah, a bit of a marathon, that one. What I'm thinking is that, yeah, lower body being on a Friday at the end of a work week and stuff like that's pretty tough. Like, you're quite fatigued by this stage, and then I've got to get up for some stiff-legged deadlifts, and they just take it out of you. So, I don't know. I never, the structure of my program being that it goes push, lower, pull, and the justification behind that was I kind of didn't want... I didn't want to start the week off with lower body because I thought, oh, that's a really tough start to the week. I want to ease my way in so I can get some push. Everyone loves it, International Chest Day, and then go lower body after that. But if I kind of flipped it such that it went, lower body push pull, lower body push pull, that would, or the pull would stay the same, but that would mean I'd finish my lower body stuff on a Thursday. And I'm wondering if that would feel a little bit better, a little bit earlier in the week, but... maybe, maybe not. Might have to take some experimentation on that one. Like I said, I've had some thoughts surrounding my next program and what I want to focus on. So maybe when I sit down and do that and hash that all out, I'll kind of go through potentially some sort of change like that, but we shall see. All right, that's that. Let's get out of this one. Let's get into tomorrow being a pull day. Everyone loves a nice pull day, so we'll get that going. And as always, guys, if you're liking the content, hit my little thing up here, hit subscribe. It costs you nothing. It's very helpful. If you want to see some more videos, some more workouts, how I'm training some of the other muscle groups, hit that playlist. And as always, it's about progress over perfection. Coach Dan, signing off.